Hi again then guys, and welcome to another Forza Horizon 3 speed build, and this time we're going for another Porsche model, and we're actually going to be having a pretty Porsche-centric week this week, kicking off first of all with probably and understandably one of the most popular Porsches to come to Forza, one of the most popular exotic Porsches ever made, the 918 Spyder. Hybrid hypercar already. So when you tune it up to over 1400 horsepower, the potential is definitely there for it to be one of the best cars in the game. Now, as you can see, this is built to the X-Class, but there aren't many circumstances where you can actually use an X-Class vehicle, especially not online. You can use it in cruises, obviously, but not so much in racing. So, before we get into the upgrades and the tuning, if you do want to have essentially this same tune, or very similar performance to it, but without having X-Class, so in other words in the S2 class, then I do have both an S2 version of this tune and this X version on my storefront. You can find both of them on there. Both of them have proven to be very popular so far and continue to be, so if you use the keywords in the video description, you can find those pretty easily. Now, getting on with the tune, which of course is built to X specifications, as I said, I would recommend, as you can see, leaving all-wheel drive on this model. You could convert it to rear-wheel drive if you want to, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. For aspiration, of course, you want the twin-turbo. It goes without saying you want to give it as much power as you can. For X-Class, of course. And then as far as the rest, fit everything with race in the title, except for the front and rear wing. You don't really need to fit those. You can fit them if you want handling, but you just don't really need it for straight line performance. Now, as far as the tuning side of things, to get more specific, to wring out some extra miles per hour out of those upgrades, as you can see, slow it definitely is not. 2.1 to 60 is strong, 3.9 to 100 is pretty strong as well, and a fraction under 270 means that although it's not the fastest in the game, it's definitely up there with the best of them, and it gets there so quickly. There are some cars which have great top speeds, but they might take a while to get there. This is not one of those vehicles. Now, I would recommend a final drive, as you can see, of 4.15, then individual gears of 3.9, 2.3, 1.6, 1.2, 0.96, 0.79 and 0.66, so a pretty smooth overall gear set to work through those gears quite efficiently and give all of them the due that they deserve, in effect, to be able to use those gears effectively. As far as alignment, we've got neutral, camber and tow. You could give it a little bit if you want to, as always, but I never really do with my cars. 4 degrees of caster, go lower if you want the car to be more manoeuvrable, especially at lower speeds, and if you want it to be stiffer, in particular at higher speeds, then raise that up. For anti-roll, we've just rounded it off to 26 and 51, springs to 92 and 190, with the lowest possible ride height. Dampers we've got on 9, 15, 4 and 7. Aero doesn't apply, as I said. And for the diff on this particular car, I've gone for 100% on acceleration, as I pretty much always do. 0 on decel. But as I always say, don't be scared to mess around with settings. If you already know a setup that works better for you in that regard, by all means go for it. If you just want to try something different, that's the whole point of these tunes. They're not designed to be setups that you copy exactly. I encourage people to try different things, so by all means do so. As far as the centre split, I've opted for 75%, because then having that 25% go into the front helps with launch and of course off-road as well, but at the same time it keeps it manoeuvrable enough for cornering. So that's it for the tune, which, as I said, is on the storefront, but now let's take it out on the street to see how it actually performs. Now, as I alluded to earlier on in the video, this is one of those cars which doesn't just have great benchmark numbers, but actually matches up to those numbers even in terms of top-end acceleration, because there are plenty of cars, if you're honest about it, that are great off the line, especially if you do engine conversions, all-wheel drive conversions, all that kind of good stuff. Top-end performance, though, is another thing entirely. There are plenty of cars with quoted speeds of over 260, which take a while to get there. This one doesn't. It absolutely rockets up to that speed, and that is the kind of performance that you want from a vehicle, of course, like this. So overall, you've got plenty of performance to go in this car, both in the S2 and X Class. As you can see, you can even bump it just above the benchmark and go even higher with draft. So overall, I hope you have a lot of fun with the car, whether you decide to follow this setup or get it from the storefront. Either way, enjoy driving it, have a lot of fun with it, and of course, if you like this tune, there are plenty more on the channel to check out. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.